Alright. Review of the Königsberg replay. Matchmaking wise, you are low tier, but there are only very few tier 7 ships. Most ships seem to be tier 5, 4 battleships per side, no aircraft carrier and 3 destroyers. Now, it seems like you already have your concealment expert skill, because your detection is 10.8. I think that's the best you can reach. That's nice. First of all, some general stuff about the ship. Königsberg, as a German light cruiser, is extremely squishy. Even when angled, you can eat citadels from battleships. And even cruisers that have 200mm EP guns can overmatch your bow and stern. So yeah, you really want to avoid getting shot at by ships that have like bigger calibers. On the other hand, since you are a German cruiser, actually let me slow it down a little bit because I want to say some more stuff before we get into the action here. Because you're a German cruiser, you already have 38mm high explosive pen, because you get to the quarter pen rule. So you don't need any increased high explosive pen skills or something, because you already pen most of the armor that you will encounter, and then just go for the better fire chance. Also, the ship has pretty good damage output, because you have relatively fast reloading guns. You also have a very good range for such a low tier cruiser, like 16.5 kilometers is pretty good. And you also have the spotting plane for even more range, I think. So yeah, that's something that helps you to make up for the squishy ship, because you can stay at range. And also you have 2 of your 3 turrets in the back. That makes you the perfect ship for kiting away from an enemy force. And because you are also a very small ship, it's actually relatively hard for an enemy battleship to hit you on a long distance when you are angled properly. Sometimes you get unlucky and eat the citadel, but normally this ship is pretty good even on open water if you are at 15 kilometers to the closest battleship or something. Okay, so now we're getting actually into the gameplay here. You just shot at the destroyer here. I think that's kind of okay, because you are relatively agile, so you should have been able to angle, I think, in case any battleship headshot you. But yeah, the 2 that are spotted back here are too far away anyway, I think. Congo might have the range, but on 21 kilometers actually chances of him hitting you are pretty slim. So let's go back into normal speed now. And one thing you want to make sure of, you really want to keep track of those 4 battleships and where they are on the map, because if they hit you broadside, then you are dead basically with 2 citadels. And if you watch the minimap, for now we have 2 battleships spotted here. So normally there should be 1 more battleship somewhere spawned on this side, and 1 more battleship that spawned on this side. For now it's like this position is you have right now here behind this island is for now, I would say, really good, because you can stay unspotted and you can shoot over the over this part of the island because it's so low. But what you really want to watch out for is there's still not the third destroyer spotted. So, and also the 4th battleship. I mean, Bayern is spotted here now, but there should be a 4th battleship somewhere in this area. And if you are unlucky and the last destroyer is pushing down this path, he might be able to spot you soon in this position. And I suspect that the last battleship which is also still not spotted. It should be around here. And if you get spotted by the destroyers, you are fully broadside for the battleship, and he can easily devastate you. So I wouldn't stay in this position too long. Oops. And also, actually, nice here. But I think it was unnecessary for you to get spotted here if you can, if you play this properly, because if you get spotted or not is dependent on a certain point of your ship having or being visible for the enemy ship, and that should be pretty much, I think, around here, around this part of the ship, because I think it's the highest part of the ship on here that has to be spotted. So you can actually look around the island with your two back turrets without getting spotted while shooting. And you still have 2/3 of your firing power, and that's what I would have done earlier when you were fighting here the Kirov, or what it was. I think it was the Kirov. Because then you would have been undetected still. Because, like I said, there's most likely a battleship somewhere around here that you have to be aware of. I mean, this time it worked out perfectly, you didn't get shot at, still full life. But in general, I would try to do it that way.
Katapultjäger kehrt zum Schiff zurück.
Okay, now the last battleship is actually spotted, and he's here in those in between those islands, so you don't really have to watch out anymore for a battleship shooting you from this area. And now you can actually stay behind this island without any danger of being spotted or destruct, I think. And you can, yeah, just farm those battleships down. Like, this is now the ideal position for you. And I'm not sure if you are just unlucky with your fire chance, because I think you have like 30 plus... Okay, now you get your first fire. I just want to say, because you have 30 plus high explosive hits and no fire so far. So I'm not sure if you were just unlucky with your fire chance, or if you actually have the skill for improved high explosive penetration to it. If so, I would not do that, because you already have such a great high explosive penetration. And personally, I also would not stay like this, but actually stay like this with my ship, so that you're actually some kind of angled and not fully broadside. Because sometimes there is a ship, like if the Farragut goes, I don't know, somewhere here, for example. I don't know. But sometimes you get spotted from a ship that you were not aware of for a short amount of time, and then some battleship gets in a random AP volley on you, and yeah, you are now fully broadside, and you also can shoot with all your guns if you're a little bit more angled. That's something I would also do. Another thing I noticed actually, but that one thing that I like, that you are zooming out in between the salvos, because I think that gives you a better overview over the battlefield and allows you to keep better track of the enemy ships and where they are. That's something I also do a lot. I actually think loading AP here for his turn is not necessary. I would have to test it in training room, but I'm actually pretty sure that your AP pen is not good enough to get citadels on him on 11 kilometers. In general, unless you have a cruiser relatively close to you that is showing his broadside, and with relatively close I mean below 10 kilometers, I would just keep shooting high explosive shells in the Königsberg. And at this point, if we look on the scoreboard here on the top, you see that you have a massive lead in ships and in points, and that the game is most likely already won. And at this point, okay, you are doing it now. Because I just want to say I would start pushing in. You have a König in front of you that is taking a lot of the fire. And yeah, basically you can now start, because they are all running away, so you can just push in, try to get in some more damage. And if you get shot at once or twice, that's not a big problem, because you're still very healthy. And like I said, because you are such a small target, you normally don't even need that much of that much damage. And if you get citadeled once, you will still not die. And another thing, the Andrea Doria, it should be one of the new Italian battleships, so he's most likely shooting SAP all of the time. I mean, it can hurt you quite a lot, but actually should not be able to citadel you, because the Königsberg has a spaced armor layout. That means that there's basically a small space in between the outer armor and the citadel on the inside of the ship. And SAP instantly explodes on impact, so it cannot get to your citadel. I mean, SAP pens still do pretty massive damage, but it shouldn't be enough for a death strike, not most of the time. And if I were you, I would have just sailed like 2 kilometers behind the König and just kept pushing in, I think. Just to stay closer to the Andrea Doria and get in more shells and maximize my damage. I mean, if you're not sure, then playing a little bit more passive like this is fine. Yeah, all in all, this was, I would say, actually a relatively easy game for you, because there was never a ship really up here that was spotting you, and there was never some AP strong ship over here that was shooting you. You were able to basically use this island all game long for farming damage, which is fine. I mean, if that's possible, that's a really nice position. But most of the games I play on this map, there are some ships coming down here. And I think you were actually very lucky in this game that that didn't happen, because normally you would have eaten some kind of damage in that position. I think that's about it. That's everything I wanted to say. I have no more notes on my paper. And I think the game is also over anyways, so... See? Yep, and it's over. Yeah, so in general, I like your... I kind of like your playstyle. You just have to make sure that you keep track of the battleships and the destroyers, because of the destroyers can spot you and top you. And for the battleships, so you are at least kind of angled towards them in case you get spotted by a destroyer. But using islands with this ship is like, I would say, the perfect gameplay. And then just make use of your very good guns. And in case you get pushed, you should try to start kiting away in time, because then you really can make use of the small size of the ship, because it's very hard to hit it on distances, on longer distances, like 15 kilometers and above. And you still can really good farm down battleships on that distance. Okay, that's it for this replay.